Welcome back to Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Taking a deep breath now because this episode is probably going to upset some people, shatter some ideas, and hopefully change the way people look at the word submission. As you all know, I try to bring topics to you that can help change your life and that will do things that is going to honor you in your places of authenticity. There have been a lot of challenges for people who are talking about submission, and women need to submit to men, and blacks need to submit to whites, and so on and so forth. The failure of using the word submit is in its origin text. Most people don't understand. It's like they brought the word up, and then women, especially black women, have taken it on as a travesty to their existence. And I get that, but I'm going to explain it a little differently. Men have taken it on as a brute force of control. Well, if you know black women, we don't like to be controlled. We like to be a part of. And anytime you try to cause us to go into a place of beneath you, there's going to be some rebellion because we hadn't found the value of going underneath, especially under the principle of Christianity. Wives submit to your husbands, husbands submit to God, yada, yada, yada. And there's a lot of missing points in between there. So today, my hope and my goal is to really give you a different perspective of what submission actually is. So let's start from the beginning. What does submission actually mean? Let's talk about the breakdown of the words. Sub, and I'm actually going to read it to you the way that I wrote it, which I don't really do that. But I really want to read it to you from this place of what submission is. So this episode title is entitled Submission Ain't What You Think. It's a deep end of surrender. It's a space of going into a place where you find a value in where you're submitting. So let's get into it. When we hear the word submission, most people, especially women, will cringe at the idea of who you want me to submit to, and our defenses will go up. We're standing in a posture where we're ready to fight back and be able to defend ourselves. It has been used over centuries to silence, especially women in places of church and in the home, pushing them away from things that they could actually help empower. And so it has created a place of fight. It is a place where you want someone to surrender. So the word sub, right, means to go under, right? Mission or merging is to send. So mission is having a journey. Submerging or the merge is to send. So you're really asking someone to come up under a mission or to go up under to send through a mission. Here's a problem. Most individuals that's requesting submission, they don't have a vision. They don't have a mission. They hadn't even identified a purpose of the relationship. They just want to activate a level of control to hold over someone. And then they get angry when they're saying, you're my woman, submit. You're black, submit. You're in the church, submit. Well, the problem with that is this. When you're requiring someone to submit and you have no leadership capabilities, you have no vision of where you're going to lead them, all are walking around in circles, going nowhere, but creating chaos, creating confusion. So to go beneath someone's noise of the ego, to submerge yourself or to go deeper, you have to really know who you are. in order for you to be willing to submit. So before you can submit, the leader needs to know, or the presumed leader needs to know who they are, and they need to know how to guide, protect, and demonstrate purpose, right, for life. They need to know that. They need to know and understand that if I am going into the role of a leader, I gotta be carrying them somewhere. See, when you get on a Navy ship and they have to submerge under the water, they know that they're going somewhere. They know how deep they're going. They know at the number of knots they're moving, and they know when they have to hit some rough parts to tell everybody to get ready. If you aren't operating in a position of leadership to guide someone through the deep waters, through the deep parts of life, then you're not the leader. You're just perpetrating the role of masculinity because you are male, because you are white, because you are a pastor, but you're not leading them anywhere. It's misalignment to be with someone and request that they submit to you when they have no vision. You have no purpose. You have no goals. Because here's what happens when you consider someone submitting to you. When women get into a relationship, and I'm going to use, the generic term of women, and I can't speak for all women, but I can tell you that when women go into a relationship, they're looking for a couple of things. They're looking for a leader that knows how to guide and make decisions. They're looking for a leader that is a protector and a provider, and it's not always financial, but a provider. And they're looking for someone that is looking for a partner. When you get into a relationship, that's the hopes and the goals, that you're going to have a protector, you're going to have a partner, you're going to have a provider, and you're going to have the provision to get to purpose, right? But when you get into that space, so if you're a man and you meet someone that is moderately successful, and you meet her and you tell her that you have plans and these are the things that you desire and that you want to experience, she's going to go to work as a partner. She's going to try to do the research and find out how, because under that submission, she's making the plans, because anyone that is submitting is then undergirding what the plans is, meaning they're standing up, they're balancing, they're building a foundation, they're building a hope, they're building a move on the way that you can, move forward. But a lot of times, they run into submission, or they run into a situation where they're trying to build up this partnership. They're trying to help move the vision and the mission along. And then that man says, you're trying to take it over. And then his ego comes into play, because the whole submission thing really is more of an ego perspective when you're not looking at it from an origin or a term of origination, right? So as they began working, now her frustration is you gave me a mission, a vision, and now I've partnered with you, and now you're afraid to see that thing come to pass? What is going on? So now here comes the chaos, here comes the confusion, here comes the lack of understanding of why things are happening the way that they're happening. So if you're going to require someone to submit, you might want to consider who you are as a leader first. Do you have leadership qualities? Do you have the ability to understand your purpose and your vision and guidance? Or are you just looking for somebody to be suppressed under your submission? Suppression. Suppression is when someone takes your voice away. We see a lot of that in marriages that are supposed to be under this umbrella of submission, where women are cowered down to not have a voice, where they want to say something, or they want to act on something, or they want to move on something, and they look like, I need your permission. That is not submission. That is suppression. And anything that you suppress too long, once they get a new, fresh air of wind, they're going to be gone. Because no one wants to be incarcerated or handcuffed to a space where they have no right to be their best self. No one wants to go through that. No one wants to have a silent voice. No one wants to be told that they can only act, from a space of permission. So when you think about, suppression and submission, submission means that you're choosing someone to partner with you on a mission to reach a purpose and a goal. Suppression is you want to stand up over them, stand on their shoulders, beat their heads down, take away their autonomy, take away their voice, take away their natural empowerment so that you can actually feel like you've done something. You need to be the hero. You need to be the man. You need to beat on your chest with the bravado. When the truth is, you can beat on your chest all day long, but nobody's following you. Because using suppression to hold somebody's voices down really shows how weak you actually are. You don't have to press someone down so that you can feel lifted up unless you are insecure in the person that you are. And you know that you don't have any real leadership or guidance. You come with bravado, you may have a strong voice and you may yell and you may curse and you may activate fear in people. You're still not a leader. You're still not anyone to go up under a mission with. You're still not someone that you want to submit. Because see, here's the thing. When women find a man or they bump into that man and that man find a woman, however y'all want to look at it, because y'all always talk about women shouldn't be chasing men, yada, yada, whatever. Women can actually speak a word and attract the men that they want in their life. Likewise with a man, you can speak the word and attract the person and they come in regardless of what's going on. However, a man that knows themselves and the strength of who they are and have a mission, a vision, and a purpose will attract a woman that wants to partner with that vision, that mission, and that purpose. And then they establish longevity. However, if either of them have unhealed parts of who they are, you can reconnect to a trauma and have a trauma bond. Sometimes as you're going through your trauma and you battle with belonging, you battle with, feeling loved and the whole perspective of what partnership is supposed to mean and submission is supposed to mean, you can become disillusioned of what the relationship is that you're in because you're looking for a hero and they're looking for someone to suppress. And then neither one of you are satisfied. You want to make sure that you're checking in with yourself. One, for women, asking yourself, does this person present a vision, a mission, and a purpose that I can follow, that I can partner with, that I can help support? Or am I still caught in a goosebump phase where it just feels good? Or you can accept the behaviors of yelling, fussing, cussing, demeaning, not protecting, not providing, all those kind of things. You can accept all those things for now, but what happens when it gets old? What happens when you have to start making some decisions and you have to move into a leadership role because your partner can't make decisions? Are you still submitting to that, or are you suppressed under that? You want to be able to ask yourself, am I healed enough within me to bring the qualities that I need to be in a relationship so that I could be my best self? Am I in a position to see that healing? Am I in a role to accept love, nourishment, vision, mission, being a partner? For men, you have to ask yourself the same thing. Am I looking for someone to submit or someone that I can suppress? You have to be honest with yourself. If you're looking for someone that you can put on, that can put you on a pedestal and all this kind of stuff, and you still lack um, leadership qualities, you lack no vision, no mission, no purpose, you're looking for somebody to suppress. So in essence, you're looking for a slave. Yeah, you're looking for a slave. You're looking for someone that will see you as massa. You're looking for someone that is going to idolize you and bow down to everything and have no voice or not even challenge you. You're looking for someone to suppress, not to submit. You have to identify or understand that suppression is having a noose or a tight grip on someone, where they are afraid to use their voice, where they just go along to get along because they found that that's the easiest thing for them to do, where they are able to really move into a space of, I'm just going to be quiet, right? You have to put yourself into a space to say, excuse me, I'm going to move in a healthy realm of, one, submitting to myself. Before you can submit to others, you got to understand what submission looks like within yourself. Do you have levels of commitment and consistency? Can you submit to honoring your purpose, honoring the power that's inside of you as an individual? Can you submit to your own words and trusting the value of your words within yourself? Or are you just looking for someone to come in and be a hero? If you're looking for someone to come in and just be a hero and you haven't worked on your own willingness to submit and be consistent with you, you're literally going to be giving your power away to someone who hasn't really earned the power. You're going to be looking for someone who can drag you along willingly, because you haven't built up what you need inside of you to understand that you have an empowered voice, to understand that you serve a purpose and a mission and a vision to operate in, to understand that you have attracting powers, and that if you're going to put yourself in a place to submit, you have to put some work in with yourself. So it's an off balance to go into a relationship and think, I'm just going to come in and submit. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I want to go. I'm just going to actually begin to be a burden to my partner because I'm going to be looking to them for everything. All the decisions, the whole 9 yards, being told what to do. Well, that's going to wear him out too. Because he's looking for a reprieve to say, I got someone that I can trust in this partnership to keep things going for as long as they need to go, because I've laid out the plan of mission, vision, and purpose for what our union is going to be. Oftentimes when, excuse me, I'm preparing to counsel people for marriage and contacting them or bringing them in for premarital counseling, if I'm actually conducting the services, we talk about what mission, vision, purpose, and commitment is. And many times people want to overlook that and think it's not that serious. But those are going to be the things that you are going to build a healthy, solid relationship on. If you just want to be in a marriage or a relationship just for the sake of saying that you're in a marriage or a relationship, you already lost. Because you're going to begin to see personalities that you didn't realize were prevalent. You're going to see behaviors that you didn't realize were prevalent. You're going to see someone with a lack of motivation that literally is looking at you to be their mama or be their daddy, and you're getting frustrated because you feel like you're getting the short end of the stick. You have to give yourself permission to, one, work your healing, two, understand if you even have what it takes to submit or be a leader. Recognize what your purpose, your mission, and your vision is, and then can I act on those things? Are you going to be someone who says, yeah, I can submit in the moment someone tells you what to do? You can't tell me what to do. Will that be you? Are you going to be someone, I asked you to marry me, you took my last name, you just need to submit to everything I'm doing, but you're not taking them nowhere. You're not guiding them. You're just looking for someone to suppress. Submission at its core isn't about control. It's about the capacity to pull someone in to what your believed vision, mission, and purpose is, to help to solidify what that is in your life. You know, we often talk about people are power couples, power couple dreams, and all that kind of stuff that goes on. But all you see is a picture. I know far too many couples who were deemed power couples on their way to divorce. Couples that were supposed to be the ones to watch. And on the inside, things were tearing up because the woman may have emerged as a stronger partner than the man that was supposed to be leading, and they created chaos, or vice versa. Capacity is your ability to really trust who you are within yourself. If you are wrestling with people pleasing and belonging, lack of value, lack of self-esteem, lack of worth, it's vital for you to work on those things first before trying to pull yourself into a relationship and call it submission. Because you're going to take all of that excess baggage into that relationship, and you're going to find that it's more frustrating. You're going to find that all of the things that you believed were about relationship are kind of out of the window. You're going to recognize that I have some healing to do. Now, I'm not saying don't be in a relationship. I'm not saying until you completely heal. Yeah, I'm kind of saying that. But what I am more importantly saying is know thyself. Know the truth of who you actually are. Are you truly a leader that someone can come up under you, undergird you, and push you forward as a partner in the vision of the relationship? Are you someone who can go up under a leader that offers vision, mission, and purpose that you can submit to? Or are you just looking to be suppressed and looking for someone to say, yeah, I take care of you, I'm your man, yada, yada, yada? Relationships should be a balance of the two personalities coming together that have intertwined in goals, purpose, vision, mission, accountability, consciousness, reliability, support, partnership, love, communication, willingness to be present and vocal, and the balance of silence, understanding, accepting, empowered. Relationships should be built on a strong foundation of understanding, healing, and support. If you want to use the word submission, here are a couple of challenges for you. Take the word submission and ask yourself, what characteristics are in myself to submit? And this is on both sides because men have to submit as well. And you're submitting to the idea of I'm a protector of a relationship, but I honor the voice of my partner. And I know I've come to this from a heterosexual lens because I'm heterosexual, but these same techniques, ideas, and movement work within any community. So ask yourself, what characteristics am I bringing in to a relationship that allows me to submit, to lead, and be accountable? The next question, ask yourself, do I know how to communicate my vision, my purpose, and my mission? Am I following the guidelines of my mission, my vision, my mission, and my purpose? Have I honored myself in the ideal of being a leader or being a partner? If I haven't honored myself, what are my areas of improvement? What do I need to work on to become the leader and the partner that I desire in my life? You got to be real with yourself in answering these questions, because the next question is going to ask, can I guide anyone, including myself? Am I a true leader, or do I have an archaic idea about leadership? What am I doing, excuse me, to execute and demonstrate leadership abilities? One of the things that you want to recognize is what your characteristics are that come to the table, so that you can really honor who you are in the relationship. Oftentimes, when I see men burning out of relationships, it's because they thought they had someone that wanted to be a partner and they just needed a caretaker or a provider. And unfortunately, that happens. That means that the right questions aren't being asked. Conversations aren't being had in order for you to speak on what you're looking for in a relationship. So many people are afraid to ask real questions when they're going through the get to know you stage, the socialization stage, and then the dating stage. Don't you want to know if that person has the ability to lead and or follow? Don't you want to know if that person has a vision, a mission, and a purpose, and they're not giving you a mask that they've been hiding around or under, trying to pretend as if they were successful and had it all together? Don't you want to know if your partner has the ability to support your vision, your mission, and your goal? Don't you want to ask if you're wasting your time? Don't you want to ask if this person has worked through the healing part of their trauma? Because listen, we all got trauma, but we all have trauma that needs to be healed. And it's not on your partner to heal that trauma. That's a you job. That's something that you are responsible for. I encourage you to listen to this podcast a couple of times and really ask yourself, am I a leader requiring submission, or am I a leader expecting suppression? Am I looking to be led from submission, or am I looking to be led from suppression? You have to decide for yourself the value and the importance of your voice and your stance. You have to decide if you are living your truth. I know a lot of relationships where women are sitting silent and frustrated because they really are trying to honor the idea of submission, but they are feeling left behind. They're feeling lost. And in a lot of instances, their fight is gone. You have to be willing to accept the value of who you are before you're willing to submit to someone who may not see your value, or suppress yourself to someone who may not fully see your value. My hope that this episode, even though it's 30 minutes long, my hope in this episode is that you will find the courage to ask yourself, what am I submitting to, or am I being suppressed? How am I leading, or how am I suppressing? How am I standing tall and being a visionary, or where am I lacking vision? And I hope that encourages couples to come back to a space where they are able to communicate about what the needs are of relationships, and that it bridges a path forward for healthier relationships. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me about this, what I think is an invaluable subject on submission. My hope, again, is for it to open up communication so that you all can begin to really have effective understanding of what relationships are. So until the next time on Authentically Peculiar with Marcia, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share podcasts that you feel like are very important. I hope this one is one of those. Take good care, and I'll see you on the next upcoming episode.